Good morning, everybody. We are out here at Mountain Bay, and this is episode 2 of the Cocodona Training Series, and we are dealing with some rain this morning. But I'm testing out a new rain jacket from Solomon that was half off a couple weeks ago, so I'm pretty excited for that. But we are loaded up with 2 liters of water, and obviously the capacity for 4. Kind of just slowly adding up that water weight for that one section on Cocodona where 4 liters are required. But it's cold this morning. Pretty cold. It's about 39 degrees and rainy, so should be a pretty good run and a good test for the rain jacket and the weight of this pack. So just wearing the Solomon Exodus Ultras again. Kind of just starting off a little bit of hiking and slow paced running to get this run started and warming up here. Pack is loaded up. The weight feels good. I really need to adjust to the weight. That's the biggest thing. I said that in my last training video. And then kind of finding out what works best for the pack. If anyone has ran Cocodona before and you have any suggestions on, the pack to carry the 4 liters, whether it's in bottles or bladder, please let me know. I've been kind of messing around with multiple packs. I actually just picked up the Solomon Cross Season, which is a 15 liter pack, but the bladder just doesn't feel right in it. So I'm planning to just carry bottles. And now I do have a 1 liter big bottle made by Hydro Pack that will come in handy also. So I think bottles is the best for me because I can really distribute the weight good, but it's still up in the air. It's really early, and I'm really into kind of testing multiple setups because on race day things can change. So I'll probably have 3 different vests out there, and but right now I'm leaning towards bottles. I do have a bladder, but it just doesn't feel right. When I was in the military, we would pack our bladders on top of our pack, and it just helped distribute the weight better. But these sit flat on your back, and they just create like a crest, and it just doesn't feel right for me. It kind of pushes on my chest too much, and I don't know if the pack size is wrong or what, but so kind of testing out that. Yeah, I'm using the Advanced Skin 12 today, and I've really loved this pack. I've had it about 2 years now. Now, it's got a couple frays and a little bit of rips up near the shoulders, but for what I put it through, this thing has handled everything. I'm really surprised. I've been a really big fan of Solomon, and now when I first started ultra running, I used the Nathan Vapor Air. I think it was a 7 or 8 liter pack, and hey, that did well, but this pack is just next level, especially because you can adjust it so well, and there's not straps. Now today I'm not really going for elevation. This is just kind of a crushed stone path here, and it's just a straight shot for 70 miles. So it's a great trail to just gets in some quality training while still being out in nature. So that first section that everybody talks about at Cocodona, I plan to do that first section in about 12 hours. That's what they said about mid-pack people will do. Now, I'm not a professional runner. I don't consider myself fast by any means. I like going the distance. That's why I'm doing a 200 mile. So that's kind of the plan, is to play it very slow when I have that 4 liters on me and conserve my water as much as I can. And obviously with 4 liters, that's a lot of weight. And to be bouncing around with all that weight in a vest and stuff like that, it's just better to fast hike it. So that's kind of the plan right now. I mean, I'm wearing 2 liters right now, and I can tell that another 2 liters is really going to limit my movement, So go while playing it smart, especially in that first section. I feel like it breaks a lot of people because it's completely exposed with 10,000 feet of game. So it's kind of the plan. And also, as I get closer and closer to race day, I'm just taking in as much content as I can about Cocodona. This will be its 4th year. So navigation-wise, I've heard to try to stay out of the granite dells during the night because it's very hard to navigate. There's just markings on the rocks. So I kind of pride myself on being good at navigation, but I know that that can change very fast, especially in an ultra, especially when you're depleted, especially around mile 100, 125. I believe that's kind of where you hit those granite dells. Not 100%, but I'm just trying to plan around, possibly sleeping and experiencing those sections during the day, if at all possible. But like I said, this is my first 200, so it's going to be a very big learning experience for me, and the ultimate goal is just to finish. And the mileage this week is looking like 28 miles, elevation somewhere around 2,000 feet. I ended up doing 3,100 last week, but that was a little bit too much. Felt a little niggle in my knee, nothing crazy. Pretty in tune with my body, I would say. But yeah, we increased the elevation a little bit too much last week, which was expected. I did know that was coming if I stayed on those trails that I was training on. But so this week we're kind of just tying it down a little bit and still increasing our mileage about 10% from last week. I have one more week of a build and then a down week. So that's kind of the plan this week. But legs are feeling really great and recovering well from every run. I don't feel really sore at all. I'm going to start incorporating some more lactate threshold runs, some intervals and stuff once I hit a base mileage of about 35 miles a week. So but that intensity obviously will be increased, so my longer run will be decreased. So kind of have to create that balance, And I am wearing a heart rate monitor on all my training runs for Cocodona, obviously. If I have the capability, might as well wear it, right? So we're keeping our heart rate definitely below 140 for these long runs here. And then obviously on those lactate threshold runs, I'm trying to push up to, 160 plus. And just working on turnover. My goal is to try to do that early in the training block, is do a lot of my speed work, lactate threshold work, intervals, really early in the training block. And then when I get closer to Cocodona, is doing those really big long runs, back-to-backs, sleeping on the trail, things like that. 24-hour runs, things that'll prepare me really well. When I'm out here training, I'm trying to aim for about 400 to 500 milliliters of water per hour. Now it's pretty cold, so I technically don't need that much water personally. I'm not really sweating too much, and my intensity is pretty low. But what I'm trying to do is just get my body used to taking that much of water routinely. So obviously that's going to change with heat. I'll probably be pushed up to about 750 milliliters, or not more. See, that's what I'm kind of battling with, is that really hot section at Cocodona is, hey, I need to conserve my water. So it'll be a challenge. Either way, you're going to get behind. So when I get to those aid stations, I will take anywhere from 15 to 20 minute break and really fuel up and hydrate as much as I can. But in the future, I plan to go through a lot of my kind of training philosophy and how I plan to train for this 200. I'm not following any plan. I'm training myself, but I do have I wouldn't say a lot of experience training myself, but I have a background in exercise physiology. So I understand what the body needs, but that at the 200 mile distance, there's still so many unknowns. So I'm not going to act like I know everything, because I definitely don't. Especially with that type of distance. I've only done 300 miles too. It's not like I'm some big experienced ultra runner, so I definitely don't know it all, but I definitely know proper ways to train and when to kind of lay back on it. So, but in another video, I'll kind of go through my training philosophy, what I do. Right now it's strength training 3 times a week, focusing a lot on hip mobility, glute glute work, calf work, and not neglecting upper body either. I definitely still do that. Just about 5 miles in. Haven't really bumped into anybody yet. No one on the trail. You know, when it's rainy like this, I've said this before in some of my videos, I get it all to myself. So I love when the conditions are kind of gloomy and kind of like keep people inside. It's where a lot of that mental strength comes from in your training, and just being prepared for any conditions, because you're going to see once it starts winter here, I'm coming out no matter what. Whether there's 7 inches of snow, a foot of snow, 2 feet of snow, I'm coming out. And I'm going to get it in those miles. Whether I'm just hiking, walking extremely slow, or able to pick it up. You know, it's just going to benefit me. Any kind of condition. You know, it's just being prepared. So you might have to carry a little bit extra gear, some gloves, maybe another layer. But it's all worth it in the end. Feel one with nature too, you know. And it's always fun. And the rain is picking back up, but feeling really good right now. And we're just doing 10 miles today, slowly increasing that long run and paying attention to heart rate, when I need to walk, you know, kind of staying in that comfortable zone with the all-day pace. You know, when I start to add this weight, it's just about dropping the ego, you know. If you need to walk, you need to walk. And I said this in my last Cocodona training video, is don't feel like you need to keep up with other people. This is your race. These 200 miles are more about mental strength. Obviously going the distance, completing it. It's going to take a lot of visualization. And that's one thing I really try to incorporate in my training is, what am I going to feel like at mile 170, at mile 225, right? What will that feel like on my legs? Mentally, what will it feel like? Obviously, you're going to feel exhausted, you know, but preparing for that and being ready for it is something I believe, at least for me personally, will help me succeed. So, first 200 mile, obviously, planning to go to the distance, and with this 7-month training block, we should be very adequately, with this 7-month training block, we should be very prepared. So, just about 2 miles out from my car here, so I'm gonna probably just end the video here, and we'll do 5 miles tomorrow on a hilly loop at Baird's Creek. So I'll probably end up getting over 1,000 feet of gain there. So we'll end it at that. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is episode 2 of the training series, so we're kind of just working out, you know, how I want to structure this series, but a lot of blabbing, talking about, you know, training philosophy, stuff like that. But hopefully you guys follow along, and hopefully if you are following, I see you out in that Cocodona course. There's still a lot of spots left, so sign up. You can do it. See you guys soon.